very photogenic campaign against this scheme, which is now applying to the whole of Greater London. It's very much frontline activism. Several members of Kingsley's group have been arrested, and this man himself was arrested for reason of camera removal, something which he disputes. Now, some people really believe that they've put all these cameras up across the whole of Greater London just to catch Piers Corbyn in his Vauxhall Cavalier. Well, come on. Look, let's be honest. This is to bring in a pay-per-mile scheme. It's the thin end of the wedge. And Kingsley is going to tell us about what we can do about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Kingsley Hamilton.
Hi, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. If you're wondering what the coffin is, it represents... Move away from the microphone. Is that okay, yeah? Yeah. The coffin represents democracy that is now dead. The reason it is dead is because we believe, or we're supposed to believe, in politicians that say, I'm going to do this if you elect me. I'm going to do that if you elect me. Sadiq Khan said before he was elected that he was not going to expand the ultra-low emission zone. It's not an ultra-low emission zone anyway. I'll talk about that in a minute. I'll just call it ULEZ. He then did a consultation. The consultation, the people said no. They don't want it. They don't want it in Outer London because we haven't got as good public transport links. Outer London is completely different from Central London. So the people said no at the election. The people said no in the consultation. Sadiq Khan has ignored that and he doesn't care. But as the gentleman was just saying, this is not just about making a few pounds off people for driving their cars in a non-compliant car. £12.50 is not much when you consider the cost of these cameras. ULEZ is to pay for the cameras. But why do you want the cameras? Let's have a think about it for a second. There are cameras almost every mile. They're very close together. The low emission zone, which used to be for buses and trucks, you'd get a camera every 3 or 4, 6, 8 miles. They'd be quite far apart. ULEZ cameras are on almost every single traffic light in London. Sadiq Khan has hinted that he may consider a pay-per-mile scheme. He's been caught out talking about it previously. Secrets have been exposed about pay-per-mile, and now it's almost undeniable that pay-per-mile is coming if he gets elected again. But this is the trouble, you see. We get conditioned to just accepting, oh, it's all right, I'll just get a compliant car. I'll just buy another car in the middle of a cost of living crisis when you can't afford another car. I'll just deal with it. It's just progress, apparently. You know, it's not my problem because it doesn't affect me, so I'm okay. This is how they attack us. They attack us at the thin end of the wedge. They get little bits of you at a time so that there's less of you to fight back. I do believe in direct action, and I will say I have been arrested for allegedly taking down cameras. I'll say it very carefully. I've not been proven to do it. Some of you know me and will make your own mind up about that, but obviously, you know, we're innocent until proven guilty, so we'll just leave it at that. But I will say that I'm not disappointed. I'm not going to condone criminal activity because I will get arrested if I do so. But I'm going to show you how disappointed I am with the cameras being taken down. That's how disappointed I am. The point is, we outnumber everybody. We outnumber the system, sorry. We outnumber the cameras. We outnumber the people who are trying to shut us down. We live in a system where you're not allowed to have a different opinion. You're not allowed to say that. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're a nutter. You're racist. You're far right. You're an extremist. You can't just have a civil debate with someone and say, now hang on a second. Why is it that a 2001 Nissan Micra is non-compliant, but a 5-litre Range Rover from 2018 is okay, even though it pollutes 20 times more? Why is that okay? You're not allowed to have those discussions because if you say you don't like ULEZ, you're against clean air. Apparently, you don't like breathing clean air. You like pollution. It's absolute nonsense. All we wanted was debate, but like many things, you just get shut down. You're an extremist, you're a nutter, you're a conspiracy theorist. So it is your duty to speak up. And sometimes you will have to take that abuse. I've just been called racist yesterday on one of the Sutton news groups. Someone called me racist. You know, it's just absolute nonsense. They're trying to silence you. But what is ULEZ? ULEZ is just a formality to pay for some very, very, very expensive cameras. So I'm very disappointed when those cameras end up in the River Wand and all sorts of other places, or scrapyards, or become a useful tin can of baked beans. Because let's face it, a tin can of baked beans is much more useful than a ULEZ camera. But it's not for ULEZ. It's the next step, but they don't tell you the next step because there's an election coming. So Sadiq Khan is trying to pretend that Paper Mile is not coming because that's going to affect everybody. And if people knew that it was going to affect everybody, they would all suddenly rise up and go, hold on a minute, you've gone too far, mate. No, enough is enough. But that's where you've got to come in. You've got to talk to people about everything that concerns you. And you've got to take that abuse, unfortunately. It does mean you've got to stick your head above the parapet. You're effectively putting your neck on the block all the time, you know, but I do that because I care. I'm standing as an independent in St Helly West. I don't know if any of you are here from St Helly West. If you are, please do vote for me. I'm an independent. Sick and tired of all the politicians, sick and tired of all the parties. Now, a lot of people I've spoken to said, I'm not voting because I'm fed up. And they're right. And I'm with them on that. I'm not voting because I'm fed up. But the trouble is, we've got such a majority of people who don't vote. Can you imagine those people having power? This is where people have got to back an independent candidate and say, you know what, these guys are not the system, they're trying to beat the system. And it's sometimes, unfortunately, and I cannot stand the first past the post system, that's why I carry this confident democracy. The first past the post system is absolute bullshit, excuse the language, sorry. It's absolute nonsense. But we have to, unfortunately, use the system to defeat the system. But we've got to talk to people. We've got to put our heads above the parapets. We've got to take that abuse. We've got to be there and say, you know what, you want to shout at me? Please do so. But at least let me respond to your shouting at me. And that's where you come in. So ULEZ is the thin end of the wedge for Paper Mile. It's control. They're trying to get you into electric cars that can be remotely switched off. They're trying to get you to have smart meters because when there's too much power being drained, they can turn your smart meter off. They're trying to tell you now, or the next things that are coming is you're not allowed to have a gas boiler. We're going to say your house is not compliant. But the reason this is happening is because people say, oh, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me, I don't need to get involved. You all need to get involved. You all need to not just come to meetings like this, you've all got to rise up somehow. You've got to do something. Okay, you're talking about 5G masts in your area. If you don't want something in your area, there's a Screwfix near you. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm sorry to be as blunt, but I'm not condoning criminal activity. Let's just clarify that because I don't want to get arrested. But you are the resistance. But you are only the resistance if you resist. If you don't resist and go, well, yeah, I'd like it. One day there's going to be a right. One day there's going to be this, and one day it's going to kick off. Nothing's going to kick off unless you kick off. It's time for you to kick off. Thank you. Yeah. Any questions?
I think we should just...
Questions?
Thank you very much.